glad I did.
Okay, so thanks, and maybe we.
Well, you don't have to end the call.
I don't have to end the call.
No, you don't have to end the call because I wanna give my feedback.
Yes. Okay. So stay in the call.
But yet, like, I can't hear him though. Because you have a headset.
You want to hear him.
I want to hear him.
Okay,
yes.
So then we have to switch.
Yeah, but then you will have echo. So
well, it depends. Like, what is important to you?
Yeah, like
is it more important?
Yeah, I don't mind so much.
So
echo.
Yeah, I'll switch it. Just a sec. You just pull this one and boys, I need support. You pull this and then.
And you need a big searcher.
Yeah, where is it? This one? Okay. Okay. Man.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Athene.
Okay, this is working. Hi there.
Hi.
Okay, I know it's going to be a little bit echo for the viewers. I'm really sorry about that. Reep. But yeah, the thing is, like, the reason why I came upstairs is it's too how do you say it? It's too edged. Is that the word?
Yes.
Basically, it's to give feedback to Ricardo because I do think he can learn a lot from what I'm going to talk about, and on the other hand, to also talk to you and address certain things to make sure that you have a really good understanding and view on the stuff. So first of all, before I even get to what I'm going to explain, is that what is very important to know is that anything I say, I'm not fully 100% sure that this is this is true or not. That is very important. So I'm not making absolute truth statements because I might always be wrong. So I want to make sure and make clear that, because I know that a lot of times when I'm in a conversation, I can come across very dominant, but that is not because I'm invested in what I'm saying, but rather because that is a very powerful way in communicating and overriding others people's irrationality or illogic. It's a very powerful way because reason doesn't always work, certainly when the dynamics are different. So I just want to state that at the start.
No, anything you say will not be held against you by me.
Okay.
I won't get triggered. You can say anything you want, and if anything, I might say at the end, go watch the whole of it that I said to Ricardo, or ask his opinion. But anything you say, I'll listen to.
I've listened to everything. Yes, to everything.
Okay,
so you're going to be quite impressed by my working memory now.
I'm getting scared now, but go ahead.
Because now I'm going to bring everything together, like everything you said. The entire conversation is in my head, basically. I can just replay it. But like the reason why I'm coming upstairs mainly is because I think that Ricardo can learn a lot from it and get a lot of insight. Because if in the future, we will try and how do you say it? Like him also being responsible as a person to reach out to more people and read people, because that's what it's about. It's about reading people and having a lot of insight. It's very important that everybody can do what I'm doing, because I don't want this to be just me. I want this to be, everybody should have the ability to do this. And that really allows to grow, and not it to be depending on me, because I don't want that. It's really the last thing I want, and that's why I'm so much mentoring. So to me, it's a very big, it's mainly mentoring, but also I will address certain things that you say. I want to say up front though, it's important not to get triggered.
I won't get triggered.
I know that you're extra aware about it, but I'm telling you, I will say things, and I do think it's important that you don't that you don't try too much to rationalize. Really, use the same reflection that you've been using while you're talking to Ricardo to what I'm gonna say, because I'm most of the time I'm just like when you listen to the conversation of the vegetarian, my my arguments are pretty on point, and it's important to think before being very reactionary. I want to state that because I'm going to say a lot of things, and it's going to have a lot of room to argue with. Like, while when you just think about it, like, you will see that a lot of stuff that I'm saying makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I'll argue anything today. I'll likely re-listen to what you're going to say a lot of times to fully grasp it. So yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
go
good.
ahead.
Okay, well, Ricardo just went to the bathroom, so I'll wait.
Okay, sure.
Like, I also want to be clear that to me it's not so much about whether or not I don't want to have a talk with you. It's more that if the mindset to which you are reaching out and talking to me is very much like the same as the one where you talked about like vegetarianism, then you're basically bringing up a point that we argue for hours, and as a result, like, people get bored, and the time that I spend with these arguments are like it can be spent more effectively by going through potentials which people really enjoy, because I don't really like so much arguing, because I feel like when the conversations can drag, like people tend to be very triggered the wrong way and just leave. And I that's like, to me it's not about winning the argument. To me it's about having the biggest impact, and therefore that is why I just weigh in the actual impact. So it's not that I try to not have the conversation about it because I don't want to give you a chance or something. It's just because the angle has to be correct before bringing it up. But since Ricardo is now involved as well in this, it's a good opportunity to also talk about it, because because it gives me extra reason and motivation to use this time, because I know it will help Ricardo, and that's actually even more important than what the viewers say, to be honest. Like, so I don't really mind so much now, even though this might drag a little bit.
I can't wait to hear all of it.
Okay, so basically I listened to the entire conversation, and I think that I do think that there is quite some miscommunication. Well, what I mean, misunderstanding, in terms of like why he would not be suitable to come over. Like, it's not because of ego. Like I know you discussed it quite a bit, but it's not really because of ego. The main issue, and I know he's going to argue with it, but I'm just saying, like, it's the underlying. There is a level of intellectual validation going on, and that has been, for most of the part, what has been the motivation. And I will really give arguments to strengthen what I'm saying. That has been mostly the motivation for the arguments he has brought up like last week, the argument he wanted to bring up now, and also the talk he has with you. It's all coming from the same angle. Like, I'm going as far as saying that it's not because of right action, and I will really like explain why. So it's not just me saying this, and that is the main issue. Like, it's not so much the ego, and the ego, to put it that way, that's where like it's very connected with each other. Like it's not coming from a true right action angle. And I will give you, like, now, like, I will build it. First of all, and I find that very fascinating, but this has nothing to do with that, but it points towards it. It's just a pointer. Like, where he was explaining and giving the example about how he greets people. That, like, he saw the definition and it didn't make sense, and that's why he didn't speak with it. Because it's not honest, it doesn't make sense. But the thing is, though, when you look at greeting, or for example, when you tell someone Happy Christmas or God bless you, it's not about the words you use, but it's about the emotional feedback loop you give in a social setting. So you could even say God bless you, or you can say Happy Christmas without being a Christian, but still within a social framework and situation, this can still be very much absorbed and respected and seen as, as some kind of, interaction. And the reason why you do that is because it's coming from the same angle, that level of intellectuality that you get validation of. And that is the same reason why you have a very strong motivation to speak about vegetarianism and give arguments, but also give an argument about inspiring. But the reason why the inspiration argument hasn't fully been able to be materialized is because for a big part, I already debunked it earlier when you were talking about it in the chat. And like the next one in line was convincing in this situation Ricardo that you might be a potential. And that is all coming from the same validation seeking of like intellectual validation seeking. And the reason why that is because, and normally I don't say these things, but I'm just being fully honest, is like you look very much up to me as someone that is very rational and rhetorical, and winning an argument or winning, like being able to intellectually dominate, you get a lot of validation out of it because you are the kind of person that is very good at it in your environment. And with being contact with like us or me on the stream, it causes quite some dissonance, and that's why you feel like giving these arguments and these that's the strongest motivation of these arguments. And that's why that's also why you have these small little things, like for example saying something that has completely like that is just a social thing and can get so much out of it because it's more like an intellectual identity you're trying to get, and it's not so much the underlying right action. And so basically, for example, with the inspiring, with the science stuff, it's not about you've seen the Real Talk for so long and you go like, yeah, I know, like that, I would love to work with those guys, but inspiring is not that great. I would rather focus on science, and only now you've been bringing it up to get to because I coincidentally brought it up, like I'll have calls. No, the idea of working with us has arisen like slowly, like more as a way of getting of getting your intellectual identity validated rather than actually working here. And and that is why you come with the vegetarian talk and you give all these arguments, because you really try. But at the same time, you do know that when you're in a situation where you're wrecking yourself, to put it that way, that it's better intellectually to admit, because it allows you to still use that then as an argument of I can let go. But the problem is that the dynamics is one where you're trying to establish your intellectual identity, because you get a lot out of that. And that is also why for example you really get a lot of satisfaction, like more than you should when you just look at it from a detached perspective that would just purely be looking at the situation as a third person. For example, there's that one Real Talk where you brought up that all the cells, that is wrong, that fact is wrong. And in a sense, honestly, the example that I want to give there, and it's exactly what Ricardo said, because when you're talking about these things, you always have to the part that was we actually even had a discussion whether to keep
it up.
Yes, you brought it up, and I said, who gives a shit?
Yes.
I'm not gonna add the thing. But the thing is, the argument is still valid, because even the neurons that it's about the ship of, what is it, there's the ship of thingy, where it's a thought, it's a theoretical thought where you replace each part, at which part do you have a new ship, or does it stay the same? And it's the same with the neurons, because they don't have to die for that to be the case, because they absorb like food, and they replace like just like the ship replaces itself, neurons replaces themselves. And you could go even deeper, and if you go on a quantum level, like things pop in and out of existence all the time. And it's basically just merely like the thought experiment, but like when I'm just talking, you know, like during the Minecraft days, while I'm just jumping around, I'm not thinking to make consistent arguments, but I'm using shortcuts to bring about the core message. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the reason why you pointed out is because on a certain level you feel like you are on a crusade to find like fallacies, because you can get intellectual validation out of it. And it's very important to really meditate on this, because if you understand that, you will understand that a lot of the right action you talk about and wanting to come over it is not fully with that intention, but rather the intellectual validation one. Because if the right action was really what it was, then the angle you would take in all these discussions would not even be there. You would just be reaching out much earlier. You would just send an application, and the entire framework would be completely different. It would be more focused on the practical impact, and on top of that, you would also be, as a person, much more productive and effective in your own environment. So now and right action. So now I want to use what you said, and I know that Ricardo convinced you, but like even accepting his explanation about what he said about inspiring was not fully was not fully well structured. And what I mean with that, like, you had the core point was there, but like from from an outsider, if I was Feadin, I wouldn't accept fully and go like, oh, and agree. But the reason why he agreed was not so much because he fully agreed with what you say, but rather because for him it was a way to move on to the other thing, like discard the idea that he has an ego because he accepted your argument. So that's the layers that are going on below that, and use that as an argument. Like, I'm quite detached, but because he already knew that what he was saying was not valid, yet still he uses it as an argument for saying like, that's why I'm doing here. I'm doing science. I know I'm contributing, and yet I know I'm contributing here from my place, and yet that is not fully consistent with gaming and all the other things. So basically these arguments are not so much real arguments you believe, but rather emotional excuses to backwards rationalize that you are intellectually strong and have that identity. And that is why your motivation is coming from there, from a shield. It's not coming from the inside of really wanting to make a difference, because if that was the case, you would already be doing so. And the entire angle and the approach would be completely different. So I want to go even further with because talking about the intellectual, angle, the scientific angle, actually explains a lot of your real intentions. For example, you don't mind, as long as you can rationalize it for yourself, you don't really mind so much whether you're doing the right thing or not. It's more like an intellectual facade that makes you feel comfortable within your bubble. And if that is the case, and if it's justified, and it has a seal of approval, you feel extremely validated for that. And the reason why that is because a lot of the things do not add up. For example, when you talk about the science stuff, and the argument, coming up with the argument is so absurd. If you think about it for just 5 seconds, it's so absurd to say I'm doing this scientifically, and I know inspiring people is not really I don't know if inspiring people is the best thing I can do, or what or if that's the best thing you guys can do, and whatever. All these arguments that you're giving, you know that they don't hold up if you think about it. You know it, but The problem is, since you have that intellectual facade, you're basically, it's literally like people in a room, like debating, and you even use that in your talk, like that I brought it up, that people debating, you basically were using the argument that was actually applied to you yourself, what you were doing. Because when you look at what we're doing the opposite of sitting here and debating. We're saving millions of lives. So like it's not even like the argument would rather apply to you bringing up the argument rather than us sitting here not doing it. And then when you start talk about like projects that have been failed, you also know on a certain level that it doesn't really fully add up, because you have to look at the bigger context, and you have to understand that, you know, like when you look at the full impact, it's about what we have achieved so far and the track record, which talks for itself, like hands down. And when it comes down to inspiring, and I'm just bringing it up because it's just important to be aware of. When it comes down to inspiring, even if it is about science, and science is the best thing to do, then even in that perspective, it's better to inspire, but then you just inspire people to go into science. So even in that regard, even if your argument is valid, then inspiring is still above it, because you can multiply. And you knew that because I brought it up during the call. So you knew that it was dismantled, but you still used the argument and called back because it was giving you an extra point for having less of an ego. But that's not really the problem. The main issue is that the drive and the motivation for you reaching out to us is not coming from a right action mindset, but rather from an identity that wants intellectual validation. And since you really look up to me from an intellectual perspective, because you know that I have quite a lot of rhetoric power, you crave for that intellectual validation and bring up things and throw them. And even joining here is for you more that than you actually wanting to come over here to do the right thing. Because if you wanted to do the right thing, you would have gone about it in a very different way. So that is my...
Can I bring a 30-second point about myself I didn't mention in the call?
Yeah, sure. But like, what? One sec, before you bring it up, I just wanted to explain this, because I thought that it's important that the ego stuff, it's a bit more nuanced than that. I also want to hear, like, before you give your point, I want to quickly hear what Ricardo has to say about what I just all talked about, because maybe, you know, like he has certain feedback, because I've listened really carefully, and there's also other things that I can say that, you know, like there's different other things that I can point out that would speak for this theory, because at the end of the day, it's just a theory.
I would still like to say it now, if you don't mind, because it's
sure.
To something you immediately said. Basically, I'll try and make this very short, but one of the things I could say that could, because like my brain's on fire right now, I'm trying to process all you said, and I'll have to re-listen to it. I'll just say what I want to say. I think I may have a proof that I am right action mindset, and it is not an intellectual facade. I'll have to reflect on it. I'm not sure it's true, but very young, I have this memory. When I was 12 or 13 years old, I don't know where it came from, but I asked a friend, who didn't stay my friend very long, if a god, like, or if you had the choice to cure every single disease on earth, but you had to die, would you die? And to me, it was obvious. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'll give up my life if I can have such a massive impact in the world. And he said no, like fuck that. And I was really baffled by that. So from a very young age, there is a motivation in me to do good. I would give up my life if I could cure all cancer tomorrow. And that is the most honest truth I could give. Maybe.
But I can tell you though, if I would ask that question to 30% of the world population, they would also say yes. And that doesn't mean that 30% of the world population can come and work here. I mean, like you have to...
It points towards right action, right?
Yeah, but like then that would apply to 30% of the world population, because like almost every single person would say yes to that kind of question. Like it's a very hard one to say no to. You have to imagine, it's like, you know, if you can be responsible for saving billions of people, I mean, like there is not a lot of people that would say like, oh, I can live with the idea that, you know, all these people died. Certainly, like every single person that has a close person in their family or whatever, all these people will say yes. Maybe it's not 30%, but even 10%, even like the amount of people that would say yes to that question is so high, and it doesn't really it doesn't really fully it doesn't, like, that's not a card or an argument even to say you have a right action. An argument for you to say you have a right action is that you put your time and your resources in trying to make the world a better place day in, day out, and you do it from an angle that you really feel like this is because it's the right thing to do, rather than any shape or form validation. And that would then immediately translate into you having already applied a long time ago. I mean, like you've been following the Real Talks for a very long time. Like this entire escalation, or whatever you want to call it, started with the call with the vegetarianism. And then you started rationalizing about it, about like the science, that maybe is better and more right action. While if you think about it for 5 seconds, that it's completely absurd. It's more you trying to bring facade after facade because you have that intellectual validation seeking. And I'm not saying this because I want to make you feel inferior or anything. Like, I'm just analyzing where it comes from and why I would why you have to work on these specific things and realize that before you fully know that this is really what you want. And that is why I also said earlier, you gotta know where this comes from. That's what I said, where this comes from. Like the angle and the reason why you even have the feeling or the drive to bring up these small things and to bring up these concepts and to bring up these examples, even with the kid, the example with the example with what you say to your to people and you don't say it anymore. These are very small little things that if you put them in context, it's so minimal and points so much more to an act of being right action minded than to true intentions. Because if it's true intentions, you wouldn't even mind and care about these things. And it's just like the entire what is it, like the entire communication and the entire coming across is very much put central in how others see you. And like when it comes down to intellectual, it's mainly like how I would see you. And I'm not saying I'm just trying to explain psychologically, and I'm going even a step further here. And of course I don't want to generalize, but it is something that is very important to be aware of, because it has also a lot to do with
FCKNG Cable Nolan.
Thank you for the donation, user Lane. I also want to say that it a lot has to do with culture. And what I mean with that is, like, whenever I talk to people from the US or even Canada, like, it is... Thank you for the $5 donation. Whenever I talk to people from the US and also from Canada, I see that almost with everyone. It is a very big drive to impress. And behind it, behind that drive, behind that facade, there is void. And that is not like I'm not wanting to generalize, but I'm saying that is something I've seen with almost every single potential I've talked to from the US and from Canada. There might be people that that are different, but I'm just saying like true wanting to do the right thing. I have not had one call yet, and it's all the same thing. It's exactly what I explained now. It's that, like, the fundamental reason why you're doing it is not even because it's truly something you want to do, but rather a facade. And then automatically when you explain things, you mainly explain things to see how you come across rather than what you really are. And I don't even know if me explaining this and really pinpointing it so accurately, if you fully understand it, because I don't know how it works. For me, it's a big question myself. Like I don't know why that is, but it is something that is very much present. And whenever there is talks, whenever there is discussions, I give people the benefit of the doubt, but I still keep seeing it coming back. And that is why I'm pinpointing it very accurately. At least I think it is very accurately. And I'm explaining it all. I'm not saying here like, hey, you don't have potential or this or that. I'm just trying to explain that it's coming from the wrong reason. Like, doing what is right is something that comes fully from yourself, and if that is the case, you do already, certainly if you're 30 years old, you would have already applied it to every part of your life. Like, and that is what speaks the most for what I'm saying. Like, that speaks the most that speaks the loudest of all my arguments is your inaction when it comes down to making the world a better place in your own day-to-day life. Like all these things that I bring up all point towards that as well. And I just think it's important to be aware of that and really hear and try to meditate on that and really reflect on that. And that's why I'm saying that's why I'm giving this entire rundown. But mainly the reason why I'm doing this rundown is for Ricardo, like, because normally I wouldn't even do this talk, like I wouldn't even explain all this. Normally I wouldn't even do that. Because most of the time I just avoid these kind of, like, it's quite hard confrontation, and sometimes I don't even know if it's better or not, or maybe it's better to not say anything at all, because at the end of the day you're a big donator. Maybe this talk will cause you, to backwards rationalize that this is not the case. Maybe not, but I just don't like to take these risks. But I'm still explaining it because I do think it can be very enriching for Ricardo, because it's very important to always spin the fundamental drive of persons' action and motivation to talk and reach out to us. So I'm just wondering, like, I want to quickly, I'm first going to ask something in Ricardo, and then you can answer Feadin. What do you think, Ricardo, about what I just said?
It's extremely hard for me to keep all my points, because I want to I had three things that I thought about, and what I think is what you bring up is something that I also, like, I think it's a definition thing. I also correlate it with ego more, and if I would have seen it, I would have pointed it out, but I noticed I noticed it, but I couldn't pinpoint it. So it's more like a thing that I had on the back of my mind, but I couldn't pinpoint it and correlate it with the reason where it came from, because I didn't know where these things came from. So without knowing, I tried to go over those topics and approach the things that I did know where they come from. For example, with the call with vegetarianism, I was pretty certain about this one, so I addressed this one. And I think they all come from ego, whether you call it intellectual validation or ego. I think it's the same origin.
I don't know, because like what's very important to know is that, like, it's more nuanced, because like when you think about ego and when you think about like this identity, intellectual identity, and getting validation, I wouldn't put that all under the term ego, because then like you can use the word ego in different situations and you mean something completely different. Because most of the time when I talk,
That's probably how much I would have paid for a psychiatrist to fuck my brain this much. I'll try and understand who I am, I guess. Keep up the good work.
holy shit, $1,000. Thank you, Feadin, for the donation. You didn't have to donate that, but thank you. Like I do think it is it is very it is very important to really like closely like listen to everything I've said, because it will help you a lot. I hope it will help you a lot to really realize, you know, like. But on the other hand, I like, to me, it's very hard. I don't know, because I don't have so much insight in what this does. Like, what does this information do to people? Because
I really believe that if it always depends on the person, but I really believe even if it is what you say it is, if you are confronted with it and you're a really, really rational person, you can overcome it. Because it always depends. If you get triggered, it's over. But if you really pinpoint, and for people that are really rational, because like most of those guys that I also listen to calls, I go like, yeah, there is no meaning behind addressing it, because they won't understand it, and they won't be able to overcome it, because they are going to backwards rationalize it. But like from the conversations I heard with him, and also like his rationality from which part it may come, I believe that even if it comes from that point, I think if you're confronted with the information, there is a small chance that you are able to look at the information objectively and overcome it.
yes, there is a small chance. But like, there's a small chance that, you know.
Yeah.
But like it's about what is very important to know is like what I'm wondering, because now I'm thinking on Feadin's side. Like, I'm just thinking very like let's say I'm Feadin and I get this information, and let's say the only thing I know is that facade. That's what I'm thinking. What do you replace it with? Because you have to know that on a fundamental level, we are all emotional. And it's really like being able to let go on a fundamental level. A lot of people can't do that. And
But
if it's all there is, then once that is let go, you really feel in a void, and you have to build from scratch.
yeah, but you can replace it with something that is really strong, because
No,
why not?
like because your rationality, your ability to be rational, comes after there is a foundation on an emotional level. And that's why if you take someone's confidence fully away, or you take someone's self-validation fully away, they are wrecks. If you would do that with me, let's say you go to my brain and you suddenly take away like certain validation, certain self-validation mechanisms, certain like self-confidence, like I would suddenly be I would be overrun by my environment suddenly. I wouldn't even be able to make the rational connections, because I'm unable to do so, because what allows me to do so is a very strong foundation. And if the foundation that he uses to make these rational connections is the intellectual facade, take that away and you suddenly have a crazy fucking mindfuck. It's really it's really like it is extremely it's extremely you're wiped from the map. Like you don't have any kind of what is it called, foundation anymore. You don't even know what to hang on, hang on. And that is the thing, like what I experience a lot with people from the US and from Canada, and that's something that you don't have so much in Europe. And I don't know if it is like, because in I guess in US and Canada it's much more present to really, you know, like it's even like the extent to which you need to impress is so much more part of culture, that like it basically almost completely overrides the sense you have of yourself, and the sense of self becomes the facade. And when you take that away, like it's very hard for people to really like fully like they either, like in the US you might have people that don't have it at all, that facade. I don't know, maybe very successful people, very successful business people that have been able to grow out of that, but until you have that liberty to even give yourself that freedom to be yourself, I feel like you are constantly judged to such an extent that you become the facade. And that is something that most people that go to the US or Canada, like Canada less than US, but still they come back and they experience that. You go to there and you feel like everybody's acting. And it's not because it's just like a culture difference. It's really because on a fundamental level, the impressing is so important that it becomes who you are. And as a result, like you almost have a hard time thinking outside of it. And that's why when it's really pointed out really very sharply, like what I'm explaining now, really spot on, like you take away any kind of foundation. Like, and the rational ability to even process this information is not there anymore because you were using your intellectual facade or identity to do so. And that is the thing what you have with a lot of people that can come across very strong. You have even in Europe, like or people that came from a war zone, like they have very strong egos, and when you go through it, they collapse. Like literally they collapse. And say what?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you have beliefs without an intellectual identity?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm shattered right now, and I need to get beliefs without an intellectual identity. You can go on talking.
But yeah, that is exactly like what he's saying now. He's like, that is like what you're saying now. Honestly, Feadin, you're realizing what I'm explaining because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I'm wrecked right now. I'm totally.
That's exactly what it is. It's having beliefs without intellectual facade.
But my point is,
Not facade, but identity. But yeah.
Yes, identity, intellectual identity.
But my point is, with certain people, it is beneficial for their growth to let them fall in this void. With some people it isn't. But if they are guided and you give them if they fall in this void, you give them something to hold on to.
It's really like that is the thing. That is like, honestly, if I'm really honest to you right now, I don't have data on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I really don't know.
Because
we'll know with what happens with Feadin, but like I don't know. Because it really, like, it can crush you. Like you have to be fully aware. You have to really be fully aware that if you haven't known anything else, you really realize you've lived a lie.
Yeah, but if you have insights, for example, that you are not your past and you are the neural activity at one point, then it doesn't matter.
No, that's not true, because you're making a big jump to suddenly having a rational framework. But in order for you to have a rational framework, you first need a strong emotional foundation.
But can't that be given by just giving direction in that void?
No, I don't think so. It's really like it's almost like when you grow up as a child and you've gotten, like, for example, like you've gotten a lot of traumas and whatever. Like these emotions really form the foundation in which you then create a rational framework. And that's why whenever people talk to me and say but people are emotional, I say on a fundamental level, we are emotional, all of us. And we learn how to build a rational framework afterwards. And that's why when you have stuff like Capra syndrome, because on a fundamental level, we are impulsive emotional beings. And it's only when you have a certain level of confidence and understand the emotional, the emotional repercussions, and you really are fully, in control to a sense, that only then you can start building a rational framework, and not the other way around. You can never start from a rational framework. It's impossible. Like, it's literally neurologically impossible to do that.
But
so basically what he has to do, he has to really go all the way back and refigure everything out. And a lot of people in the US have to do that. Like, it's a crazy paradigm shift to suddenly realize, but like, and that's why like things like, for example, the power of now can be such, like, even in the US, even more than here, can be such a catharsis, because they suddenly figure out, like, holy shit, this is not who I am. And they just like everything is suddenly erased. And you don't, like, if you say, like, but can you get it? Like, honestly, I don't know what you can do. Like, it is really very, very tricky terrain, because you really go to the essence of the person. And then it comes back to confidence, to self-validation, to even, like, I go even as far to the warmth you've gotten when you were a child. And that is why when, for example, and I'm even talking to people I know myself, when they have had a very hard past, they are in a harder place to create that rational framework, and be rational, like, afterwards. And it is really like, it's not something you can explain. And that is why also, on top of that, I reach out to people that, you know, have already that strong foundation.
Yeah.
Like, I want to even, like, I can even connect it to Raphael.
I am amazed that yours conclusions about brain, emotions and conciseness are same as spiritual teachings in yoga, tantra or new ones like Eckhart Tolle. They can be helpful on such rebuild you are talking about.
Thank you, Warl of Bagpipe, for bringing it up, and for the donation. But yeah, like, it is something to be like these things that I'm saying here are very are extremely are extremely fundamental in people. And you also see it even, like, when I was talking about Raphael, his level of insecurity that takes time to get out of, is a lot of it is traced very early on. And you can be rational, and yet still you're unable to do so. You're unable to think straight. And that's also why I say the reason why I am who I am is mainly because of RNG. My mom has been really great to me. I've had talks with Franco. I've got a lot of validation out of that when I was really young, which has strengthened me extremely and set a very strong foundation to build a very strong rational framework. I'm telling you, take that away and I'm a wreck. Like, I would just be like anyone else. And that is exactly why I'm not a robot. I understand these dynamics, but I do also understand that taking care of these issues are so, it is such a sensitive thing, which I myself have very little insight in, that I just focus on people where the foundation is there. But you do not have to underestimate how big that is. And it's like Warl of Bagpipe says, like, a lot of the stuff that I'm saying here is taught in psychology, in psychology, and also in yoga and power of now, and it's really like, when you realize these things, like some people, it's really like, for example, Feadin, like, I do think he did realize it. It's really it's a mindfuck, from like a crazy mindfuck.
It is a mindfuck. I would have a question and a request, if I may.
Sure, no problem.
Question: why haven't I said "fuck you, Athene" and rage quit by now? And the request is,
So again, what did you say?
why haven't I rage quitted and said "fuck you, Athene"? This is not true, and like rage quit and get triggered by what you said, because I do feel shattered. That's the question. And the request is, can you define what your emotional layer is that you built your rationale upon? Because to me, it still makes no sense to build rationale upon emotion. So knowing.
Well, the thing is, okay, I will answer your question. First of all, the reason why you didn't just rage quit is because, like, it's because I have a very like I have a lot of intellectual authority, rightfully so. Like, but I have a lot of intellectual authority because you really know that I am that I have a lot of insight. So it's like, if you would say like "fuck you, Athene," and just, which might still happen, but it's unlikely, but might still happen, you would really you would experience even more dissonance, because that's, at the end of the day, what defines your action, is the amount of dissonance you would experience. And realizing this, because it hits so much home, is actually more in line with your current with your current neural activity than choosing to say fuck you. But saying fuck you is also something that would be a possibility, although within this, you know, in this friendly vibe, to put it that way, it's very hard to contextualize it. And that is why I would say that it's less likely to happen, although that's always something that might happen. But it's like you really experience the good intentions. My intentions is not bad, and it just makes it harder for you to rationalize and turn me into the bad guy. First of all. Secondly, why build a rationality above a foundation of emotions? It's because that's what we are on a physical level. You have the limbic system, and then you have the prefrontal cortex. Like on a fundamental level, we are emotional beings. And it's only because of being able to course correct our emotions and use our prefrontal cortex to put rationality in who we are that we can actually create create a strong rational framework. The problem is, though, that if that foundation that you're using is rather than your true self is an intellectual facade, that basically all your actions do not come from your true self but from that facade. And that is why and that's mainly because of, like, in your situation, that's mainly of the culture of having so much pressure your entire life to impress, that you even, you know, that really true self is almost like, you know, is how do you say it, is taken, is dried up, or is taken away all the neural activity, but it's still there. And that's why when I say these things, like the reason why you just said earlier, like, but then I have to have beliefs without intellectual identity, that there is when you start building on who you are for real and not what other people want you to be. That's when you start. And that is stuff that is also a lot in philosophy and in spirituality, but also in psychology. They explain these things, and they can literally change people from one extreme to another, literally in less than a minute, because they suddenly, you know, like the entire facade just pops because it's not them, and they realize that, and suddenly it's like, oh, I have to figure out who I really am. And that is when you will be, if then the insights and everything comes out of that, you're... 1 sec, donation.
Really worth watching Eckhart Tolle YouTube movies about ego. They are nice supplement for Athene's extreme rationalism. Good luck to you. I'm 35 and still seeking as you are probably.
Thank you, World of Backpipe. He says that, like, Eckhart Tolle really, like, explains a lot about these concepts, and I do know that, like, these things that I'm explaining, like, that I'm talking about here, are heavily discussed in psychology, in spirituality, in all these things. But I always, you know, like, I always approach it very scientifically from a neurological point of view. Of course, when it comes down to really practically, how do you deal with these things? And it's also something I've had also talks with Reese about. I never actually talked about it on the stream, but I've had talks with Reese about how do you change that, you know, that foundation. And honestly, it's so hard for me to project myself, because I've been grown up differently. And then it's more about, like, case studies and experience, and basically I would have to be a psychiatrist to really fully understand what to do in these specific situations. It's really hard for me.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that I believe that it is possible through guidance to...
Well, I would say there is guidance to which you can definitely help and improve someone. But the thing is, like, that is a very active, very active process that takes quite some time.
Yes.
And that is why, you know, like, I like, when it comes down to these things, you really need to know exactly, you know, having the right environment that stimulates you in the right
Yes.
direction. And the problem is most people don't have that.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. But on the other hand, if you really, you know, realize that a lot of people get out of it by just reading books and, you know, and watching, for example, Eckhart Tolle YouTube. Like Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about this, what I'm explaining here. And that is why, you know, that is why when people talk about, like Athene, you have ego or this or that, like they don't understand all these layers. But if you really understand all these layers, then, you know, like it's one thing to have an ego. It's another thing to really fully understand the dynamics and just being able to turn off an active ego. But some people that built their entire life around an intellectual identity, like that's all there is. And I see that a lot in mainly in the US. That's all there is, and it's really it's really like when I just keep asking why are you doing it? Why? They can't even answer.
Yeah, but some people are not even able to realize it. So I think it's a really small percentage that can realize it, and then it's even a smaller percentage that falls into that hole and is able to.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. That's why I usually don't even address it.
Yes, I understand that.
Because it's really like sometimes for people it's better to live a lie, to put it that way. It sounds really crazy, but it's really like some people, like I know some people that are quite like, certainly when you get older and older it gets worse and worse, but yes, some people like can also fall in a crazy depression because of it when they're older. So maybe this is not even such a bad thing, but yeah, of course I don't know, because to me I don't have enough full, you know, like grasp on how to deal with these things, because like I come from a environment where I've had a very strong, you know, like sense of self, a calibration of the self without creating that sense of identity or ego.
I think why I did what I do is because I can, to a certain extent, from where he's coming from, I can see myself also, like coming from a scientific background and seeing and making a difference there, and that's why I maybe put more chance that than the actual statistical chance is actually that someone might come out of that.
Well, the thing is, like, this is a really process that takes so much time.
Yeah,
it's really crazy. It's really like an entire new journey that starts, but one that is much more fulfilling if you if the same things are applied. You're just a different person, and you're so, like, the confidence is real, and that is exactly like the reason why, like, it's very fascinating. But it's really like when I talk to people, like a lot of people like they cannot I've had that in many times, like the level of confidence you have when you come from like a non-identity perspective is so much stronger than if you do it with an identity. And that's why when I talk to even CEOs, they don't know what to say to me, because they feel it. They feel like this is insane. And you have even people that collapse, that just like I've had people that start crying, like for real, like really quite high up in companies, because I'm just boom, 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 and I don't care. And it's because the facade is at that moment, like it's pulverized, because they go like, but it's money, right? You want money? No, I don't want money. They don't have they don't have a what is it? They don't have on any level a place to stand on, because I just, like, they don't understand me. Literally, they don't understand me, and I'm like, I don't care about money, and it's like it's so alienating, because that's all they exist. And when I just like I just prick it with arguments, I just say this, and it's really like it's extremely decalibrating and confusing for people that have built their entire life around that illusion. And that's all there is for them. And that's literally how they wake up and how they go to bed. And that's why you can even understand the Truman Show. I don't know if you watched the movie with Jim Carrey, where everybody is an actor, And like there's people that really believe that, you know, they have the Truman complex. It's something to be, it's insane here to imagine, but when you're in the US, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people live just an actor life. Like literally they wake up and they go to bed with an actor and they never really truly know who they are. And that's why like when you have these, you know, these insights, like for example about Edward Cole and stuff, it can really be liberating for quite some people. So yeah.
How do I even go to work tomorrow?
Well, well, I don't know. Like, I mean, for me, it's very hard to like for me, it's like like I said, for me, I don't like to bring these things up because I know that they can be very shattering, and I don't know how to. I'm not fully equipped to give the best advice because I haven't gone through that. But what I can say though is that there is a lot of literature and a lot of videos, like what Warlock Bagpipe says. Like you can check Edward Toll and watch it and see this more as a journey to finding your true self, because that's what it is. It's really, that's what it is. It's fine. Like so like see it from the positive side. Although I have to say that if your entire environment, expects you to be like that, that's really, you know, like what can you do? Like it's really, it's hard. It's really hard. That's why, yeah, like I would say just do a lot of, yeah, like I would say check Edward, I guess Edward Toll is one. Edward Toll. I don't know who else is who else is really powerful in communicating that. But I can tell you though that these kind of collapses, to put it that way, happen in people, and that's why you have midlife crises and such. They realize that everything was a facade, and they go like, "What did I do with my life?" So it's good that, you know, like in that regards, it's not a bad thing that you realize these things, and you have to take the time to figure that out and think about it. That's what I would say, and it's very, yeah, like it's something that, you know, that will really truly make you learn and grow the most. Like I can tell you that if this grows to the like if this goes to the, if this is, you know, a direction you take that goes into the right direction, I can tell you that you will be thankful to a level that, you know, that is incomparable to all the insights you've gotten, because this is the most important one, because this is your true self.
Yeah, but why didn't you address that in God is in the neurons?
We wanted to address it. We wanted to talk about it because I talked to Reese about it.
I thought I understood my brain, but now I clearly don't. So yeah, I'm fucking shattered.
The thing is that, like, what is very important to know is when it comes down to these things, it is very situational as well. You have to be aware that when we made Gods in the Neurons, we do bring up a lot of things that, you know, that allow you to understand to understand the basics of the brain. But when it comes down to these things, it is very specific knowledge that applies to people that have it, and all the other people that don't have it, most of them won't even know what I'm talking about. And if you put that then in the documentary, then it would go at the cost of all these other people that, you know, go like, hey, what is this? And the problem is, if you want to talk about this, you have to elaborate on it quite deeply and honestly as well. Like a lot of what I say here, like when we wrote The Gods in the Neurons, it was pure based on the science we had. what I'm explaining here is stuff that is mainly well documented in psychology and in spirituality, but not in neuroscience. Like these are what I'm talking about here is not documented in neuroscience. So yeah, like in a neuroscientific documentary, like it's hard to start throwing my own theories in there, like about, you know, well, it's not fully my own theories though.
Maybe
One
also
second.
you don't need to start from zero and can be more and more aware of their intellectual identity, and then you just know it's a facade. But the basic emotions can stay. Also, if you do good in the end, who cares where the motivation comes from?
Well, that is like Le Remi de France, like that is actually, like, that's not maybe a bad idea, you know, what he's giving is saying that maybe you can keep building on the facade to an extent that, you know, you start, you know, that to the extent that, you know, you don't need it anymore. Because I also know that that's something that that is being talked in psychology, that certain people need an ego to get out of traumatic experiences when they were young, and then can use that ego to crawl out of it. I've heard that as well.
Yeah, but
I don't know how it works though.
How can you even be rational if you can't say, I am a rational person?
On a fundamental level. Like that you're not a rational person on a fundamental level, you mean?
No, I mean, you need an identity to be rational, and that's what I thought I was. I thought I was very rational.
You don't need, no, like you don't need an identity at all. Like what you need is merely the only thing you need is a strong rational foundation, and when it comes down to the self, it's just a person that, you know, has a certain level of self-confidence and self-validation and warmth, to put it that way, and that's it. And it's just it doesn't have a face. It's faceless. The core is faceless. The core is ever-changing. The core of who you are is just the now. And that is why the power of now is so powerful for so many people, because it teaches you that if you are just in the now, that's when you are who you are. And everything else is facade. And that's also something like, but these things I don't really talk so much about it during the real talk, because it's very it's very psychological, and I always focus on science and neuroscience, and these things are very goes to the area of psychology, and it's hard to it's much harder to make a strong case for it, because it's not fully understood on a neuroscientific level what is going on.
Yeah, you can only apply psychology to one specific.
Just take a few days off. You got a bomb, man. Need to rest and integrate yourself. You can have hard time. I have been there. Check. Sadhguru, Mujiji, whoever helps you. Love, man.
So yeah, Feadin, I will read no donation.
The past minutes of this stream have been incredibly insightful. Thank you.
Thank you, AA, for the donation. Warlock Bagpipe says, just take a few days off. You got a bomb, man. Need to rest and integrate yourself. You can have a hard time. I have been there. Check ET, Sadhguru, Moji, G, whoever helps you. Love, man. So yeah, like you see, there is an entire scene, and I bet there's a lot of people that really like relate to what I just said now. Thank you for the subscribing, Seller. That can relate to this, and that's why like I'm glad that Warlock Bagpipe is giving names, because I wouldn't really know what to say. Like this is really, I'm very insightful, but this area I'm very uninsightful because I haven't been there.
Yeah, like what I wanted to say, like psychology is something that is much more personal than neuroscience. Neuroscience is something that is based on facts that everybody can relate to and that is statistically proven, but psychology is something that builds on concepts that are really personal and for every person it is really different. That's like my mother is a psychiatrist, and she also talked about those things with me, and that's why I also have to a certain extent like some knowledge, and that's why I also believe that if you're guided by someone that has really the insights, that's just my personal belief that building from zero up is better.
Well, it's like I said, for me, it's very like I like to speak with authority about stuff I really know about, and if I was coming from there, I would be able to to speak books about it. But I'm just not like I'm. Thank you, Saltmine, for the subscription. I'm very I'm extremely I'm just extremely unknowledgeable about this. Like, I guess, and that is why I don't really like to talk about these things. I know these things, but when it comes down like, but what is your help? Like, I say like, yeah, you can read about it, but like to me it's very like I cannot pinpoint as sharply what to do about this because I haven't gone through it.
I really want to ask. I'll ask my mother about it when I next visit. I'll keep this in mind.
So yeah, then you'd be able to have, because I've heard a lot of different, like what Remy says is really like building on yourself and then crawling out of it. Like I read that theory. That's also something that Ian told me because he had the same thing. And then like, but when he talks to me about it, for me it sounded like Chinese. I never really understood it because you only understand it when you went through it. And then like you also have Eckhart Tolle that allows you to like the power of the now. But some people are so on a fundamental level so like so insecure and so fragile that just the idea of dropping the identity gives them panic attacks.
Yeah,
you have that. Like they can't, like people that have traumatized in war, they just cannot drop their ego. They drop it and they just they start
but that's what psychiatrists try
yes
to do.
yes indeed, that's what psychiatrists
because
try to do.
they have to go through it, else they won't solve the issue that is lying beyond it.
Yeah,
you can try to override it with ego or with other information, but you will not solve the issue.
Thank you for making the call. This was mind-blowingly awesome.
thank you to Spirit LT for the donation. My best I wouldn't say my best friend. My best friend today is Feadin. But yeah, it's I do think these insights, I hope a lot of people like have something about it. But honestly, when it comes down to what now, like honestly, I'm not knowledgeable about these things.
Yeah.
Like I do know about it. I know Eckhart Tolle, but like I don't know. Like I can just guide to other people. Like, and even I read about it. I can say stuff, but I cannot relate to it. So like I can just say stuff and just quote things I know about these things, but that is still not. Like that is still not. A solution, and like guidance is one big part of it, like you said. But what if you don't have guidance? How do you fix it then?
Yeah, it's almost I think it is almost impossible to do it on your own.
But that is the problem. I mean, what if you are on your own?
Yeah, I think the only way you can do it is if you have the access to the right information. And you isolate yourself from the environment, so the only environment you have is yourself.
It's very hard for me. It's really hard for me. Like, because, what?
I can't isolate myself completely. I'll have to go to work tomorrow. Some important stuff depends on me. I have to make it. I have to make it.
Well, what I can say is just like, I do think that that these insights, when you read about it and look into it, I do think that it's going to be I do think it's going to be, it can be extremely enrichful, but it can also go the other way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, you have the information though, so yeah. One sec.
I've always thought of these realizations as liberating and positive. I don't think I can relate fully, but be careful with how you describe it. Athene cause you made Feadin realize, but at the same time you kind of told him that it would make him feel bad.
Okay, thank you, Fest, for the donation. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, it is destabilizing on a fundamental level. It is. I mean, like, and it does take quite some time to fully, recover from that realization, and like reading upon it and really meditating on it really allows you to, on a very big way, you can really grow a lot. But the problem is that, like you said, I do think you do need certain guidance. I do think you do need that. I'm not sure, but so far that I've heard, you do need guidance. Or what you can do is perhaps, use the identity. But if you know that the identity is a lie, it's really hard to just. But some people do it though. Like I know, like for example, Ian. And I even think Remy, that gave the comment earlier, I know that they experimented with that, with fake identity, with fake identity, and got a lot of validation out of it, because it's like loading up your battery. You can use your identity to load your battery of validation and getting validation out of the ego, and then dropping it when you don't need it anymore. But the problem is, if you've lived like that for a very long time, it gets harder and harder and harder. But I don't really know how it exactly, like expresses itself. So yeah. I wonder how many people can relate to it.
Hey Mr. Guru, you are giving everyone that has an engagement for the next 3 years like a bachelor's degree a fuckton of dissonance. Please stop. Please, Athene.
Thank you, Dane SC Live, for the donation. Yeah, I wonder, is this like, am I allowed to have these kind of real talks? I don't know. Thank you, Zelor, for the subscribing. I wonder if I'm allowed to have, like, what do you think, Feadin? Should I have just shut the fuck up and not bring this up?
Athene, cheapest psychiatrist EU. I'd rather have my midlife crisis at 30 than 45. But I don't know where to go from here. I have to go to work and I can't isolate myself.
But I don't know if isolating yourself is the best thing you can do, though. I think talking to someone that is...
Yeah, talking to someone is way better.
But talking to someone that is...
But it's insightful.
That is insightful, yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's the best thing.
One sec.
Just meditate today, only on breath. Let thoughts flow. Just observe them and chill. It should help for next day.
Okay, so basically I got here Warlov Bathpipe saying just meditate, focus on your breath, and let thoughts flow, just observe them, and that should help for today. He also linked something, but yeah, like I do think at the same time that he has a point though. It's better to have. Say again?
Can you paste what he linked in Skype?
I will paste it in the chat so everybody can see it. I don't know, like, but I do think the guy knows what he's talking about. But yeah, then it's chakra and stuff. Like, these are the things that really, like, it's a lot of like spiritual stuff, but the underlying stuff is can be applicable on a psychological level. So it's not like me going and saying like, hey, like you know, I'm a very scientific person, so it's like these things. It's the same with religion, can give you spiritual guidance and existential answers, but like it's important to not lose yourself in it. And I don't know, like like, yeah, I'm not so insightful about these things. I'm just copy pasting here. Uh, Most of these kind of things are very spiritual, and it's important that you don't get emotionally attached and invested in these things and replace one identity with another one that is less scientific, you know. But yeah, I do think that like having the right, like the right person to talk with. I don't even know if psychologists, you have to have a really good one.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these guys,
yeah,
they are bigger wrecks than you are.
Yeah, certainly when you're in America
Yeah.
or Canada, I mean.
It's really crazy. So if you talk about these things, they wouldn't even, you know, like they have a facade themselves, so they're not going to, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the right person, I do think like, meditating for now and maybe like reading up on these things will really help you a lot. And I do think that if 1 second, another donation.
Hey Feadin, don't be sad, you can do it, and rethink, rebuild from where you are now.
Thank you, Yuzelin, for the donation. But yeah, like I'm glad at least that you think it's a good thing that I brought it up, because I really don't like to talk about these things.
It's a good thing. I'm a fucking wreck. I hope it's a good thing. I don't know. I'll tell you maybe in a few days, a few weeks, a few months. I don't know. I don't know where I go from here. And no Twitch chat. Fuck you. I won't kill myself. Okay. But I don't know where to go. But I won't kill myself. That's for sure. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, keep us in the loop, and you know, keep us in the loop, and I really wish you the best. I'm really like, I really don't really exactly know. Yeah, like the only thing I can do is give you the information that people give, and and hopefully like it will help you. But like find people that, you know, you can really talk to. I don't know if that's possible though, but that is really, maybe you can talk to our love bagpipe. I don't know if he wants to, you know, help you because you've gone through it. Maybe he can help you. I don't know. For me, it's very hard because I've never gone through it. It's good to talk. It's good to talk to someone that has gone through it and can give you some advice. And
I'll stay here. Yeah, thanks. Keep up the good work. I believe in it.
Okay. Like, like I would say, like we will, we will call it a day unless you have anything else to ask.
Not that I can think of right now, thanks.
Okay, guys. Well, either way, thank you so much for the donation. Although I know that's you know, like if you want, well, I can always like, well, I guess, thanks a lot. And I want to say that, you know, I wish you the best. And like I do think there's certain people in the chat that have listened that I'm certain definitely that would have some insight, and maybe they can even Twitch message you, because I'm sure there's people, lurkers, hearing this and could help you more than I could, because I haven't gone through it. 1 sec.
I have experienced identity crisis myself. The things I did were trying to refocus on what I wanted to do with my life and what I wanted to accomplish. I used to live a life for years, and I had to try find and reassess what I wanted in life.
Thank you, Zuril, for the donation. But yeah, like people can will be able to how do you say it, to people will be able, I'm definitely sure there's some people that will be able to help you and might poke you if you don't mind, if you think that might be interesting. Else, of course, I'm not gonna tell people to PM you on Twitch.
Well, I don't know really. I'll see. I'll listen to the book. I'll try to meditate, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Thanks.
Okay. Like, thank you for your time, and keep us in the loop. It's interesting. It's very, like it would be interesting to know how this works out. And for all the other people, I hope you guys, I really hope you guys learned something from all the real talk. Keep it up, guys. Thank you again, Feadin, and I wish you the best.
I wish you and your project the best as well.
Thank you, and we'll stay in touch. Huh?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Bye.
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 Okay, see you guys. Signing off here. Good night. And I'll be streaming tomorrow. I don't know how much I'm gonna stream because